Welcome back to Redefining AI, the tech podcast. On behalf of Squirro, the enterprise Gen AI platform, I'm your host, Lauren Hawker-Zaffer. Now, today in Redefining AI, we're thrilled to welcome a visionary in the world of technology, business and AI education, and that is Greg Shove. Now, Greg's own professional journey spans across 5 startups with 3 remarkable exits and leadership roles at giants like Apple and AOL. Now, currently, he's at the helm of Section as the CEO, an innovative online business school that does empower individuals with AI literacy. He's also the founder of Machine and Partners, where he explores the transformative potential of AI in creating business solutions. Now, Greg's deep insights into AI, entrepreneurship, and leadership make him a standout thought leader, and today we'll delve into his experiences and perspectives on using AI. So we'd like to welcome you to Redefining AI. It's really great to have you here.
Thanks, Lauren. Listen, I'm not sure I'm a visionary, but here's what I do know. I'm 63 and I still type with 2 fingers. And if I can figure out AI, I think really the rest of us can as well. And I was drawn to AI initially because I want to keep working, at least for another decade. And I work in Silicon Valley, probably the most ageist work environment in the world, right? If you're not 28 with a hoodie, you're an idiot. And so when I started playing around with ChatGPT Plus, which was February of 2023, I realized this was probably going to be my cognitive edge for myself personally. And then I realized, well, not just for me, for obviously others. And so I thought at that moment that I should focus our business section on this new, what I consider an accelerant for people. If we can learn how to use AI personally, it can become sort of a career accelerant for us. Eventually, all of us will have these same abilities, but in the short term, in the next 2 or 3 years, I think it does create an advantage for knowledge workers if they can kind of harness the power themselves of these tools.
Yeah. So you've touched upon multiple components already in this first introduction to who you are and obviously your interaction with AI itself. If you go back, if you look at Section, you mentioned the component of actually the AI emphasis, but Section didn't start out as an AI sort of central missioned organization. It didn't stem from the...
Yeah, great point. No, we were an online business school. And we were focused on what we thought was the most important accelerant in terms of teaching others, which is sort of business strategy and some of those, what I call business superpowers, things like storytelling and, data analysis for non-financial people. The kind of skills that we sometimes get at business school, we sometimes get in executive education from business schools, but it's expensive and time consuming. And we thought we could make that more accessible and affordable. And we did. And we had a huge assist from the pandemic in that we just had a tremendous demand in the first couple of years of the company. The company launched its first online offering the week of the US pandemic lockdown. So our timing in some ways was good. Post-pandemic, our demand contracted, which was a challenge. And then frankly, GPT came along. And so that's when I realized I would pivot the business and really rebuild the curriculum and focus on teaching AI through the lens of business, and that this would be the new accelerant, that almost everything we taught, whether it be storytelling or financial analysis or business strategy or how to be a better marketer, had to be retaught through the lens of AI, because we would do these jobs with AI as our thought partner. And so that's sort of what we started to do in 2023. In fact, I taught the first course, and not because I'm the best teacher by any means, just there was no one else we could find to teach it. And so we taught first a strategy class on how executives could think about developing their AI strategy, their Gen AI strategy specifically. That was in June of last year.
Okay. And is your motion in the sense of teaching AI through the lens of business still sort of aimed at executives? Or is it developed with the progression of obviously the space and also the necessity for AI literacy at various different levels in the organization?
Yeah, I'd say mid-career and up. So not just executives, we teach a lot of executives, but I'd say anybody who's, I don't know, probably 30 and above at this point in terms of age, if you had to pick an age. I think obviously a lot of kids are coming out of college and they're already AI fluent. And what I find is so ironic is we're accusing kids of cheating when they use AI at school. And of course, when we hire them, we want them to be very AI literate, or I would assume, and I would recommend anybody listening, if you're hiring, you should be screening for AI literacy in terms of you want new people joining your teams to be really AI fluent and kind of lead the rest of the team, because there might be a amount of resistance inside your organization around use of AI tools. That's what we see. We see a lot of anxiety about AI. We see a lot of resistance. We see a lot of concern from individual employees around should they be using AI. And we have to break through that, as you know. We have to get people comfortable less anxious, and more capable of using these tools to improve their productivity.
Definitely. And I suppose with that respect, obviously in the development from 2023, so we're now at the beginning of 2025 in your leading section, as you've mentioned, it's AI through the lens of business and you are their CEO. Do you think that section stands for the same as what it stands for or what it did stand for at the start of 2024? I mean, how has that year, I mean, we all know that AI, the ecosystem, the development in all respects, not just talking about the application layers, but also computational power, everything that flows with the AI ecosystem development. It must have also impacted what you stand for as an organization and section and what you stand for now at 2025, no?
Yeah, I think it has changed to some extent, but it's also the same, which is we think these tools are really powerful. We use them ourselves every day. We've got a 30% productivity gain over the past 12 months using AI tools internally. Now, we're a small company. There's only 30 of us, and we're also in a language-intensive business. So, we create content, we deliver content. We can use these tools because they were built for us almost, right? Because of the type of work we do. So what I would say is that for language intensive businesses, I think the impact is more pronounced than we probably would thought a year ago. So in some ways, my opinion has changed, which is it's accelerating for some industries. It's been slower for others. And so, I think we're seeing this very inconsistent sort of adoption and therefore productivity gains from AI based on industry, based on function, and so on. So I'm probably more optimistic in some ways and also a little more realistic in others around how hard these tools are to harness and how much anxiety and resistance there is. Not at the CEO level. Every CEO is running around saying, "Hey, we're going to be AI powered, we're AI enabled, and we're doing AI projects." That's because it sounds good, to investors and Wall Street analysts and so on. But down into the organization, that's not the reality right now. In fact, one of my predictions for 2025 in AI is that churn and or slow adoption of LLMs, products like ChatGPT for Enterprise or Microsoft Copilot, churn will be high and or adoption will be slow. I think we're going to be disappointed, and these companies will be disappointed in terms of some of their revenue sources around the sort of general purpose LLMs and for their deployment across the organization. These tools are hard to use, and I think there's a significant amount of anxiety and resistance. I think one of my other predictions, though, is that specific automations of workflows with AI are going to be very, really impactful. And we're just not hearing about them yet. I think a lot of companies are quietly building applications with vendors, perhaps with your organizations like yours, to automate workflows or to improve workflows. And they're quietly building them with significant impact in terms of productivity gain and improvement in quality of the output of the workflow. We just haven't heard about them yet. So I think general purpose LLMs, slower to adopt, more resistance, probably not meeting expectations of investors of the AI companies. I think specific workflow enhancements using AI, more impactful, and we're going to start to hear about them more and more as the year goes by.
That would have actually been one of my questions, I'd say. So we can understand from what we've seen that is accessible in public narratives, also what you express in section through the voice of the organization, that you are a strong advocate for AI literacy. But one thing that needs to be defined is obviously there's multiple different layers and interpretations of what it is to be AI literate. Now we can talk about the basic understandings of like AI concepts that people are starting to grasp, that we have seen that there is a necessity for the understanding of basic concepts. But there's also this adaptation that you're talking about where there is this resistance to actually the implementation of AI and the fluidity that's necessary in the workplace. That's part of the definition of being AI literate. And, you've said that you believe that it's important for business leaders today, but now you've also got what you're predicting as well, the component of intelligent automation. So how does this all fit into the ecosystem, and how would one be AI literate, or where should one start in the sense of AI literacy, especially around the whole intelligent automation?
Sure. Well, let's start with AI literacy. I think my basic test is, do you use AI as a thought partner? Do you know how to have a conversation with your AI? It doesn't really matter which one, sort of pick, try them all and pick your favorite kind of thing. For me, it's ChatGPT, it's Claude, and it's Perplexity would be the three I use most on a daily basis. And the use case I'm looking for in anyone I work with or anyone I want to hire is, are you using AI as a thought partner? And I keep a little post-it note on my monitor that says, "Ask AI." And I do that in part because it's not natural for me to do that. I'm not AI native. I'm not part of the AI AI generation, right? I learned how to work in a world with a browser and Google and sort of, using software in a more traditional way and getting my information in a more traditional way. So I have to remind myself sometimes if I'm working on a business plan or a strategy or a personal decision, like a health decision, get a second opinion. In addition to my doctor, I have to remind myself sometimes to use AI as a thought partner. But that is, to me, the basic use case, and we all should be as fast as possible in the next few weeks, few days, so to get ourselves really good at using AI as a thought partner, both personally and professionally. I think for any medium to high stakes decision, if we're not also using AI, consulting with AI, we're letting ourselves down. We're going to make a less optimal decision. That doesn't mean AI is going to make the decision for us. That doesn't mean I get my second opinion from AI and that's the opinion I follow for some medical treatment. It just means that I'm that much better informed, that much faster, better informed, and able to consider sort of things I wouldn't normally consider. What the AI superpower is that it crosses domains, it crosses disciplines, crosses languages and countries, crosses functions. And so especially in business, when we want to think about decisions from different angles and think about unintended consequences and think about things that could go right or could go wrong, AI is great at that. When you want to role model difficult conversations, AI is great at that. We want to practice a pitch before we actually pitch it to the prospect or client or internally to management. Again, AI is great for that as a thought partner, as a pitch partner. So that to me is AI literacy for all of us. And I think with the resistance we have is in part, is AI going to take my job? And I think that's mostly because we get a lot of information about AI from the media, and the media is all about either scaring us or, they overhype AI, or they want to scare us with AI in terms of, it's coming for our jobs, it's coming for our livelihoods. I think the other resistance, though, is natural, and it's just sort of the values we hold around work. We've been taught from a young age, not just work, but at school, right? Don't cheat. Don't cut corners. Working hard is a virtue. Your ideas, your original ideas are what make you valuable. And if this idea came from AI, perhaps, or if you worked with AI to come up with this idea, does it value the idea less? Or will you be accused of cheating or cutting a corner if you use AI? I hear a lot from executives that they think it might be cheating if they use AI, which is crazy, really. This is a superpower. We're incredibly fortunate, I think, in this moment to be given access, essentially for free, if not free, for $20 a month to these kinds of superpowers. And I think we should be using them. But we'll have to shed some of these cultural values, I guess, or beliefs that we have about our place in work or how we work, so we can really partner with these intelligences that are being released. By the way, also AI doesn't work well all the time. I'd like to describe this moment, Lauren, as sort of geeks and lab rats. I think this is the moment we're at with AI. And the geeks are Sam Altman and all the other developers of these AI technologies. And they're like nerdy high school kids. They're just releasing, more AI, more features all the time. In December, there was 12 days of new product announcements from OpenAI. Some of them working, some of them not really working. A couple of them felt half-baked, from my perspective. They're just pushing all this AI out there. And we're the lab rats. This is giant experiment, right, on us to see if we're going to thrive or not, with these technologies as they sort of come into our lives and come into our work lives. So I think we're at this really interesting moment, again, that I describe as geeks and lab rats, and we're the lab rats.
Yeah, it's an interesting analogy, the geeks and the lab rats. One sort of impactful, more obvious implication of that is the whole sort of underpinning that it then has on cultural beliefs, and the belief that we have that it is not something to be trusted, in the sense that if there is a development or a product release or a possible interaction with AI that is half-baked, as you've mentioned, then how does that start to strengthen what you're also on a mission for, to help people understand? I'm very much also in a similar opinion that obviously I am an advocate for AI, you're an advocate for AI. I understand the possibilities and superpowers that are offered by it. But then on the other hand, how do you, as an organization that is pro-AI, try to ensure that people understand that beneficial around the weakening of possible cultural belief hurdles there?
Yeah, I think, in terms of AI's unreliability, we have to teach people that it's unreliable. And we have to remind them that that's why I like to use this notion of AI as thought partner. It's not the decision maker, it's a thought partner. And so you ultimately are responsible for the decision, and you are responsible for deciding, is the input or work you're getting from AI valuable and accurate and useful to you, or is it something you're going to ignore? That's why AI for brainstorming is probably the best use case, because when you're brainstorming, you're not looking for accuracy, you're looking for sort of creativity, because AI can be very creative and can be inaccurate. So we have to teach at this moment, in 2025, and maybe forever. I don't think so, but maybe forever. But certainly for the next year or two, AI is still unreliable, and the human, we have to judge, when to check it, when to double check it, when not to use its output. And it's just kind of a reality of how AI works today, or build applications that reduce that unreliability. And that's obviously what I'm doing with my company, Machine and Partners. We're building enterprise-grade applications for others. And in those applications, we're building them in a way that we reduce, the unreliability close to zero, because that's what enterprise need. I think for employees to rely on this without thinking about it like they do software, the AI companies and the application builders will have to manage out the unreliability, manage out the hallucinations, which is just Silicon Valley speak for, AI makes shit up, another, typical Silicon Valley jargon, right? But, I think that's the reality today. Maybe we'll get AI, in the coming years that is 100% accurate. We'll see.
Yeah. I mean, one thing that you've had experience with yourself is you've done in-house experimentation. Your board also use AI and you use it in-house. What's the impact, or what is the outcome being of that experimentation? Not only lead by example, obviously using AI in an AI organization, but has there been the expected reliability or a sense of surprise in that experimentation from those that have not used it before? Were all your board familiar with AI before they actually?
Yeah, I'd say it was kind of eye-opening. The first time I showed them how I use AI as a proxy board member, and we've done this now every board meeting, so every quarter since last year, where I take the board deck, so the same preparation I send to the human board, and they usually get that board deck, 2 or 3 days before the board meeting. I send that same board deck to AI, and I use all the different AI models, and then I compare after the board meeting the input I got from AI to the input I got from the humans. So we take very faithful notes during the board meeting of what all the humans have talked about during the board meeting. And then I compare that to what GPT or Copilot or Google Gemini or Anthropic Claude, told me before the board meeting. The AI typically scores 85 to 93% of the humans. And I have a very experienced board, by the way. I have sort of a world-class, the best board I've ever had in terms of one of my startups. So I've got a world-class board with a lot of business experience. AI gets close, doesn't get 100% yet, but gets close. And of course, it's easy to schedule a board meeting with AI. It just takes a couple minutes, and no email follow-up with AI board members. So I do both. And by the way, I asked the board to do the same. I asked the board to use their AI with the same board deck and sort of ask AI to pretend to be the CEO and interact with their AI in a similar manner. My purpose here is to have more productive board meetings, because if we're all better informed, we'll just get to the issues faster and have, I think, more meaningful conversations. By the way, the reality is sometimes, because I've been on a lot of boards, you don't have time to read the pre-read, and it's 10 minutes before the board meeting, and you want to turn up and be prepared and be smart enough. And the AI is also really handy in that respect, in that you can just get, a quick synthesis and some quick advice from AI before you start the board meeting. So sometimes that works too.
Yeah. So if we were to look at that in respect of a sort of thought partner or a critical decision maker, are you using it more as a thought partner in that scenario, or is actually AI playing a critical role in any sort of decision making that you make in your board meetings?
Yeah, great question. No, just as thought partner. I don't rely on AI to make decisions, not yet, and not these kinds of decisions, because they're nuanced. They take time to make these decisions. You need more inputs typically to make these decisions, and when you have a conversation with AI, you have what inputs you have available kind of in that moment. So no, I'm using AI as a thought partner. I'm using AI to help me think through. I had lung cancer 3 years ago, and I use AI as basically as a second opinion oncologist And I'm very specific with AI in terms of the role I want my AI to play. So in that scenario, I'm saying to my AI, you are an oncologist at the Mayo Clinic. How would you advise me in terms of what I should be doing in terms of, my cancer care? Again, I'm not making decisions based on what AI is saying. And I've got good doctors at Stanford, but why not get a second opinion?
Sure. When it comes to a second opinion as well, you're in the educational business. Education is the core of what you're doing. Even though it's in the field of AI literacy and enablement, it's still an educational asset and you're helping people educate and empower themselves. What I noticed is that you have Prof AI offering at Section. Is this an example of your strategic approach as to how AI, again, we're going on the nuanced balance between almost a sort of thought partner, or is it a replacement for an actual teacher? And where do you see the role of AI in education?
Yeah, Prof AI will be another modality to learn or for us to teach. It will be a replacement for human or even synthetic avatars, meaning it's an AI coach to help you learn how to use AI and help you find your AI use cases at work. And the reason I love Prof AI is it's personalized. And as you know, teaching that is personalized, teaching that is relevant is that much more effective. And it has just much higher adoption rates by the employee or by the consumer. And that's the big problem with online learning in general. It's one size fits all. And so Prof AI and AI powered teaching allows us to ask the student, where are you? Who are you? What company do you work in? What role do you play? And then we'll tailor everything that happens after that to you specifically. And we'll tailor the case studies, we'll tailor the scenarios and so on. And so it's going to give us tremendous scale in terms of our ability to teach 100,000 students this year. We taught 15,000 students this year, and last year rather. This year, I've told the team I want to teach 100,000 students. We would not be able to do that without Prof AI, and we'll bear about 10 cents per conversation of inference cost, of AI cost, in terms of serving the student, in terms of having that conversation, that educational experience, which is really affordable for us. And we'll have a chance to get to the 100,000 number. And next year, 2026, I hope to teach 1 million students. And again, I would not be able to do that without Prof AI. So my point of view is it's going to be the way we really scale personalized education globally on any subject.
On any subject, because what's also interesting as well is that the way or where we stand in the development of AI, particularly generative AI. Generative AI is a horizontal offering. It's accessible in every industry. Its use cases there's a plethora of use cases. So you're also saying that it can be used from an educational interactive perspective, also horizontally.
Absolutely.
So anyone can learn about anything through AI.
Yeah, I think that, every subject, every grade or level of student from middle school all the way through to college and every skill, every upskilling sort of need we have inside the enterprise, I think AI will be doing this for us in the coming years. I think we should not think about it as enterprise or business upskilling anymore or corporate learning. We should think about it more like coaching. I think our AIs will coach us and teach us at the same time, if you will. If you can take a class about how to have difficult conversations as a manager. That's how we do it today. Here, take this class on difficult conversations. In the future, what we're going to do is go talk to your AI and practice and role play the difficult conversation. So we'll sort of teach you how to do it and role play it so you're ready to actually have that difficult conversation, when it needs to happen. That's how learning is going to sort of be transformed by AI, I think, relatively quickly.
Yeah, it's a great example, role-based learning at scale. One thing that's quite interesting is we spoke a couple of times about predictions for 2025. And I want us to think about a prediction that's even further than that. We've got Generation Alpha, the cohort that's too young to count as Generation Z. Generation Alpha, I don't know if they will necessarily require any sort of AI literacy development. What's your own prognosis for AI literacy once AI literacy is maybe not even necessary anymore, or will it always be necessary? This is really hypothetical in the sense of where is the field going to go, but what's your own prognosis in that respect?
Yeah, my own prognosis is the section, the company I'm currently running, probably won't be needed in its current form in 10 years. In that, to your point, I think kids coming out of college are already AI native, and then every other kid after them in terms of who's younger and will move through the educational system and then through college and into work, they're turning up using AI every day. I have a 23-year-old son who is working in New York, and he has switched. And we talked about it actually over the holidays. He has basically does not use Google much anymore at all, has switched all the what I would call knowledge searches to ChatGPT. He knows that GPT is unreliable. And so I said to him, is it really worth it? Because you have to sort of check the answers from AI versus Google. And his response was, I can tell when GPT is not giving me a good answer. And when I know that, I just go and I'll keep looking and I'll use Google and sort of get the right answer. But the rest of the time, when I know it's right, and I'm not sure he really knows it's right, but he thinks he can judge between the two. But his opinion is that when he thinks it's the good answer, it's such a better answer with so much less friction. Right, less clicks, less browser tabs open, less hunting around and reading. You get that answer so well presented by AI that it's worth it to him. The cognitive load of checking sort of the wrong answers is far outweighed by the cognitive benefit of using AI for all the other answers that he gets and all the other work that he does and research that he's doing. And he's 23, so and he's kind of not quite AI native in that he graduated a year ago, but he's basically AI native. And the kids behind him, the kids that are younger, are again they'll turn up at work expecting to use these tools every day in almost any task. And in fact, I think they'll think about what company they want to go work for. Are they using AI or not? Do I get access to these tools? Right? I mean, it used to be like, will I get access to the internet, or will I get access? Will I get a great computer when I start work? It's going to be, well, do I have access to GPT or not, or should I have to pay for it myself and not tell anybody I'm using it? Which, of course, is what's happening today. Shadow AI.
Exactly. Shadow AI
is real for good reason, and that these people realize it's a productivity boost and a cognitive gain to be using AI. If the company doesn't want to pay for it, maybe I will, kind of thing.
Yeah, very much so. So let's throw one last question as a curveball. You're a seasoned entrepreneur, so from an investment perspective, we're looking at the motion away, maybe from typical search. What should people be looking at from an investment perspective on the AI market?
Yeah, I love this idea of AI-enabled services. So I do think that we're early still to build robust AI software products that companies can buy, in part because the company is not ready in a way to be able to buy AI. I do think that a lot of startups in Silicon Valley got funded the last couple of years, AI startups, and they're building products that are probably not quite ready for prime time, and the client's not quite ready to buy it like they buy SaaS software today. I think that's sort of the reality of where we're at in this moment of AI. But the notion of, instead of selling it as software, sell it as a service that's an AI-enabled service, so you can be more efficient as the startup delivering that service to your clients. That to me is where we should be looking. So sort of accounting services that are AI-enabled, or HR services that are AI-enabled, sort of new ways that companies can buy these services, and they're going to be that much more efficient to be delivered when they're AI powered. So as an entrepreneur, I would say, don't raise venture capital, start playing around with all the APIs, and think about a service that you can build that will be enhanced, with access to generative AI and sold on a monthly basis, primarily to smaller businesses. I would start first with smaller businesses in terms of clients. Because smaller businesses and individuals need an edge. The bigger companies, the bigger buyers on the enterprise side are going to be slower, and they're going to be more cautious. They're going to be more concerned about bias in AI and hallucinations in AI and data security and privacy and so on. Smaller companies are, more agile, looking for productivity gains. That's why in general, adoption of generative AI has been driven by consumers and small business. Not surprising. That's where these innovations initially take hold, because those are the parts of the market that want the gain and are willing to take a little more risk when compared to larger enterprise. So as an entrepreneur, I'd focus on small business services that are AI enabled.
Yeah, it's the agility that's offered as well.
That's
Thank
right.
you very much, Greg, for the wonderful advice. And it's a super cause, making sure that there is the opportunity for individuals to become AI literate, because it's needed.
It is needed. Yeah, I think those who don't face some risk professionally in terms of their progression and future. So getting people into the AI class is a real mission for me and for us.
Great. So thank you very much again. It's been wonderful having you. And I hope that everyone else who's taken part in this conversation has enjoyed it as much as I have. That education is close to my heart. And yeah, if you've enjoyed it, then share it. Share it with whoever you want to share it with. Thank you.
Thank you.